Well, good afternoon, everyone. Governor Jack Markell and I are extremely pleased to share with the public today the transportation projects we are targeting with the proposed federal stimulus funding. The federal bills, as proposed now, could provide DelDOT with as much as $120 million for highways, bridges, bikes, and pedestrian facilities, and $11 million for transit. In addition, various proposals indicate projects must be awarded either in 90 days, 120, or 180. As of right now, knowing what we do know, DelDOT has targeted approximately $200 million in work. This work is broken down in the targeted list we provided you here today. We have overprogrammed because we don't know for sure how much money will be coming to our state and what the final particulars will be. The list represents projects that will put Delawareans to work and what we can accomplish. But I must caution the public today that some projects most likely will not make the list, and this will depend upon the amount of funding, as I said, that we will get and the public support. In choosing the projects, some of the criteria we followed included roadways that we considered must be federally eligible. Approximately 30% of the roads in Delaware are federally eligible, and most of those roads are located in Newcastle County. We also need to follow and maintain our state and federal environmental, historical, and cultural permitting process. We need to make sure that the federal requirements for public comments that are adhered to, and the real estate acquisitions must be minimal given the process that we go through to acquire property. The DelDOT team has worked extremely hard to vet all possible transportation projects that focus on job creation and could be done in the time frames identified. However, this vetting process does not end today. It continues by working with our partners at Wilmapco, the Dover-Kent County MPO, and Sussex County. Under federal law, DelDOT is required to work closely with the local planning organizations through a public comment process, which will begin this week. At several public meetings through the 30-day comment period, there will be opportunities for the public to give their input. For those here today, Tigga Segea, who's with Wilmapco, and do I see Juanita? Juanita Wierzrak is here from the local planning organizations to help us answer those questions that you might have. I want to take a moment, though, to truly thank our Governor, Jack Markell, for recognizing the importance of this stimulus funding early on. The Governor has been very supportive and have allowed us to do what we need to get to this point. Governor, as you know, we said early on, and we will say it again, we are prepared to take advantage of this unique opportunity to keep jobs in Delaware and to help turn our economy around. So it's my distinct pleasure and great honor to recognize and introduce to you my boss, Governor Jack Markell.
I want to thank Secretary Wicks and the terrific team at DelDOT who has worked so hard in putting this list together. I also want to acknowledge, standing behind me now, Secretary of Labor John McMahon and the head of the Economic Development Office, Alan Levin. And the reason that I'm so delighted that they're here is because this effort has really cut across agencies. From the beginning, I've committed to the people of Delaware that we will work across agency lines on behalf of the people rather than working in the silos which too often dominate in government. So today, Delaware faces two historic challenges: historically high budget shortfalls and historically high unemployment. The federal stimulus funding that we hope to receive will not by itself erase the budget shortfalls that we're facing this fiscal year and next, but it may help us get more Delawareans back to work. Today, my administration is announcing the list of projects we're submitting for public review. And to arrive at this list, we conducted a thoughtful process to come up with projects that represent critically important infrastructure investments for Delaware and that otherwise meet the federal criteria under the stimulus legislation. Delaware's historic high unemployment is expected to increase as those who lost their jobs late last year move into the unemployment lines. And we expect these federal infrastructure funds will get Delawareans back to work and help get our economy moving again. And that's critical because we're not going to overcome these historic economic challenges if we don't do everything we possibly can to get people back to work. And we believe these projects identified today would create 1,200 jobs directly and indirectly. The list we're announcing today will be submitted for review to the Wilmington Metropolitan Area Planning Organizations, the other planning organizations, and to our congressional delegation. Today is only the first step. As these organizations review the projects, the members are going to help us rank them. We don't expect to receive enough funding from the stimulus bill to pay for all these projects, but we're publicizing the list today because we need to know what the local priorities are. We're announcing our list here because it includes $40 million to add high-speed Easy Pass lanes to the toll plaza, which will help alleviate a major traffic choke point. If you want to clap for that one, you can clap for that one. The list includes a good mix of investment in roads, in transit, in alternative transportation, and in economic development. The projects in this list will stimulate the economy not only by creating jobs in the short term, but they'll also help the economy grow in the long term by making Delaware attractive to economic development. These projects were based on a careful review process, including significant vetting across the state agencies. And again, I want to thank all three of the agency leaders who are here today, as well as internally with DelDOT's professional staff and based on DelDOT's 6-year work plan that's already in place. As I mentioned at the outset, a hallmark of my administration will be bringing agencies together to do what's best for Delawareans. And that's why DelDOT worked with the Economic Development Office, which is focused on building businesses and growing the economy, and with the Department of Labor, which is focused on helping Delawareans find employment in developing this list. In the coming weeks and months, I, along with members of the General Assembly, are going to have to make some very difficult decisions to address the historic revenue shortfalls. The funding that we are discussing today is one-time money for transportation projects. It's not going to help our budget shortfall, but it does offer a path to get our economy moving again. We are, however, hopeful that other aspects of the stimulus package will help lessen the need to cut important core services. So we just really wanted to emphasize that last point because there's a lot of questions about what the impact is of the infrastructure money on the budget shortfall, and the answer is really quite little. But that being said, this is incredibly important at putting Delawareans back to work and to addressing critical infrastructure needs and to providing some of the investments we need to strengthen Delaware's economy. So I very much appreciate everybody coming out. Again, to the staff of DelDOT who are here today, that I know you worked very, very hard, and we're really grateful. And to the staff of the other agencies as well, DITO and the Department of Labor, I think you all are demonstrating exactly the kind of cooperation across agencies that's so important to me, but more importantly, so important to the people of Delaware. And with that, I'd like to hand it back over to Secretary Wicks.
Thank you, Governor. We do think our targeted list is comprehensive, covering all aspects of our transportation system up and down our state. The target projects did not just come out of thin air. We reviewed our 6-year work program, as the Governor said, and looked at what we could accelerate. For example, at this I-95 toll plaza, we need new technology to address congestion by constructing highway speed lanes, Easy Pass lanes. In Dover, we are targeting a new transit center that will allow more bus service and serve as a transportation destination point, as well as support the future rail service as well. In Newcastle County and Sussex, we want to expand our park and ride lots to allow more people to ride our buses. We are also thinking outside the box and hoping that targeting improvements to the Market Street in Wilmington will entice economic development, and that the completion of the Rehoboth Beach Boardwalk project will continue to draw tourists for years to come. We're targeting the quality of life with projects that include pedestrian and bicycle facilities. And we are also targeting $70 million in vital pavement and rehabilitation work that preserves the life of the road system for years to come. A significant amount of this work will be in Kent and Sussex counties. Safety is a theme running through many of the projects on the list, including guardrail work, signal improvements, and pavement marking rehabilitation. The safety of our bridge system is also targeted priority, so we would like to invest more than $25 million in improvements to bridge safety projects. We have given a thoughtful consideration to how we can best utilize these federal funds when they become available. And now I'd like to turn the mic over to our Secretary of Department of Labor, John McMahon, for a few words.
Thank you, Carolann. Thank you, Governor. From the Department of Labor standpoint, these projects will enable us to put to work about 800 people directly on the projects themselves, and that will be supplemented with 400 to 500 others who will provide goods and services to the industry. As you know, the construction industry especially has been very hard hit. The public sector, the private sector, and the housing industry has decreased their production. This will allow approximately 800 people who are skilled to go back to work on these projects. They, of course, will start earning wages, pay taxes, and it will have a wonderful waterfall effect to the entire industry. We are most pleased with the projects that have been produced, and we think it'll be very meaningful and helpful to increasing the economic wealth of the state. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Secretary McMahon. Obviously, this meeting would not be possible if we weren't working with our federal partners in Washington and here locally with our Federal Highway Administration staff. We have our division administrator, Hassan Raza, who is with us today, and we've worked with his staff to look at vetting these projects to understand what we could allocate our resources to and how we continue to partner to ensure that these monies can be spent well in our state. Hassan?
Thank you, Governor Markell, Secretary Wicks, and other distinguished guests. I would like to start my comments by congratulating Secretary Wicks and DelDOT staff who developed a listing of projects that could be advanced fairly quickly using the economic recovery funds. It's never easy to develop a project listing and meet all the requirements in such a short turnaround time, but DelDOT accepted the challenge and developed a listing and did a terrific job. Some of these projects will require concurrencies and approvals from other federal and state agencies, but we believe that all agencies will act rather swiftly to ensure that the projects are not delayed. We at Federal Highway Administration are working with DelDOT staff and our other federal and local agencies and state agencies to ensure that all information is communicated swiftly and all inquiries and questions are responded in a prompt manner. While the exact requirements of stimulus package are not well known at this time, we're fairly confident that all projects will be funded with 100% federal funds. The projects which are ready to be advanced will be given preferences, and the states who are able to use the economic recovery funds in an expeditious manner will probably be rewarded. So it's in everybody's interest that these projects move forward. We are committed to support DelDOT, and our staff will be working with all our other stakeholders and partners to make sure that all planning, environmental, and contract requirements are met so that we could advance these projects in an expeditious manner. While we are standing at the Delaware Toll Plaza, it's fitting to just talk a little bit about traffic flow and traffic delays along this I-95 corridor. These traffic delays are well publicized by local and regional travelers, and also by local and regional news media. In selecting I-95 Toll Plaza as one of the projects under the recovery package, I believe that Governor Markell and Secretary Wicks have shown that their vision for economic recovery funds is not only to create additional jobs, but they are equally committed to reducing congestion, improving safety, enhancing our environment, and supporting local and regional economy. We believe that I-95 Toll Plaza meets all these parameters, and we believe that completion of this project will be a significant milestone in ensuring that the I-95 corridor provide a safe and reliable services to our traveling public. In closing, I would like to recognize Secretary Wicks for her leadership and her personal efforts to create partnerships which are needed to advance transportation network. Together, we have solved many problems, and I hope that our partnership will continue, as it is through such partnership that we can deliver a quality transportation network to our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan, for those kind words. There are many projects considered that did not make our targeted list. Generally, this is because the various phases of work could not have been completed given the time frames currently proposed. We know our targeted list, however, is justified because we have focused on projects that are consistent with the MPO's transportation improvement plans with our 6-year capital program. They recognize the need for congestion relief, supporting a multimodal system, improving safety, and maintaining our assets. But most of all, we recognize how our construction projects support economic recovery and provide jobs for Delawareans. So I thank you all for being here today, and I look forward to having you all back for a laundry list of ribbon cuttings to celebrate our next step. Thank you. We'd be happy to take comments.